I still remember sitting in my classroom, staring at my blackboard for hours and not seeing anything. You see, my body was there in the classroom, but my mind wasn't. My mind was somewhere else. It was in my fantasy world, saving the world, thinking about my crush, or thinking about some random food I'm going to eat after class, or thinking about a lunch break. Like these were the thoughts I was getting while I was supposed to study, while I was supposed to focus so I can get good grades and finally make everybody proud. I just couldn't focus. The teacher's voice would be just a background noise, just a background thing that's going on, and I just don't care about it. And every period, like mathematics, physics, science, all of these things would pass away. And at the end, at 2 p.m., I would get my break from school. I would return back home. And the same thing would happen. I would be sitting on my desk, opening my notebooks and books, and I wanted to study, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. And over the years, I have faced a variety of struggles when it comes to focusing. So I decided to make this one video where I'll talk about all of these struggles, all of the things that will come in front of you as an obstacle, and I would give you the solution in this one video. So this is my promise to you. This is the last video you will need to watch on focus. I cover everything in this video. I cover how do you increase your focus span, how do you focus, different things that worked for me. I don't give the normal advice that everybody else is giving. This is not your normal productivity YouTuber. This is the advice that worked for me. Before we begin, I want to introduce myself. I'm Aarsh and I talk about productivity, becoming the top 1% worker, having the top 1% mindset. How do you transform your self image, identity, and change your life? The advice I give is the advice that worked for me. For years, I followed the advice of productivity YouTubers and nothing would happen. I wouldn't be able to make any progress because they haven't tried and tested those solutions they give in their videos on their own life. They just tell you and copy and paste the same advice from the books and just give you that video in like a fancy editing form and you just digest it and then you use it in your own life and it doesn't work. It never works. Here on this channel, I have tested all of these advice on my own life. These are the experiences I've had with the advice I give, and I've tested it on my own life and I give it to you directly. So if you're into that, then I would urge you to subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. The first concept I want to discuss with you here is trudging through the snow. From now onwards, I want you to always keep this phrase in mind: trudging through the snow. Whenever you're working, you will feel some sort of resistance. You will feel this invisible energy, this force that is resisting you towards doing the thing you wanted to do, towards doing the very thing that will bring you closer to your goals and achieve the life you want to live. There's a book called The War of Art. This is the book I read about a couple of weeks ago. And the same topic is discussed in this book. And I urge you to read this book if you're facing procrastination, focus issues, whatever issue you're facing. It's like probably the best book for you. I finished it in like 2 days, very short read. But this book talks about resistance. And it talks about you seeing resistance as an extremely evil thing. From now onwards, I want you to see resistance as the enemy because this single thing will take away the life you wanted to live, will destroy everything you wanted from this life. However long we will be conscious and alive for, all of that time will be miserable and suffering because of this one thing called resistance. And if you give in to resistance, meaning you don't do the work you wanted to do, you don't approach the person you wanted to approach, you don't do hard things, you don't get out of your comfort zone, out of your shell, you just give in to your resistance. Whenever resistance shows up, you stop, listen to it like a good boy, and do and live the life you were already living before, not go outside of your comfort zone at all. That's the power of resistance. It will destroy your life, it will destroy your dreams. So I want you to see this as an evil thing, as the enemy. But I also want you to understand this one thing: use this in a productive way. Use this as the GPS. So, this is your new GPS system: resistance. Whenever you face resistance in your work, in anything you wanted to do or pursue, understand that you're doing the right thing. When you face resistance in something, that probably means you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path. So don't feel sad or don't feel upset that resistance is showing up with your work. Just understand that you're probably doing the right thing. That's why it's showing up. That's why it showed up for the 99% of the people and they gave up. And the only thing that will differentiate you from the 99% from the mass is is you not giving up and going through the snow, trudging through the snow. Remember that. So that's the point number one. Trudging through the snow. Just go through the work, even if it's hard, even if you don't feel like doing it. Just do it and trudge through the snow. And in no time, you will be in a flow state and you will be focused. Dopamine will be getting released, and you will be literally focused for 1, 2, 3 hours straight. And you won't even know the time passing by. You won't even feel tired because now you're releasing dopamine from your work. And that's the best thing ever. But before you get into a flow state, there's this period called the struggle phase. And you struggle for like 5 minutes. 99% of the people give in within those 5 minutes to their distractions. If you want to be the 1%, then you have to go through those 5 to 10 minutes of struggle phase and then get into the flow state. Struggle phase is resistance. Struggle phase is trudging through the snow, no matter how hard or how resistive the activity you're doing feels. Next, we are going to talk about this concept I developed called progressively overloading focus span. Progressively overloading. I got that term from gym. So what happens in the gym? You go do bench press day one. You're not gonna start with like 100 kilograms. You're gonna start off with like 5 kilograms. Easy. Next week, you're gonna up the weight by like 2, 3 kilograms. Let's say you go to 7.5 kg. In a couple of weeks, you will be at 12, 15 kilograms. Couple of months, you will be at 20, 25 kilograms. You see, you're not going up directly as a beginner to 100 kilograms. You will fucking die. Okay, you will die. I can't even bench press 100 kg at this stage. I'm like 1 year in my journey. So what I want you to understand is this is directly related to focus and studying and working for more hours. Day one, you won't be able to work for 12 hours straight. If you think like tomorrow I'm going to work for 12 hours, good luck. You wouldn't be able to work for the next 4 months straight. Like you will waste so much time if you think like that. If you said to yourself, tomorrow I'll work for 12 hours, today I'll just relax. If today you didn't work for any hours, tomorrow don't expect you to work for more than 3 hours. Lose the ego and set a smaller goal. Working for 12 hours a day is a skill, and you need to develop this skill from the ground up, and you can lose this skill. So, firstly, what I want you to do is tomorrow, if you haven't worked for more than 2 hours today, tomorrow I want you to work for 45 minutes, 1 hour. If you did that, your day was a win. Next day, work for 1.5 hours, 2 hours. 4, 5 days later, push for like 3 hours. Then a week later, push for like 4, 5, 6 hours. And soon in like 2 weeks, you will be working for 8 hours a day, which is a lot. You see, it took you 2 weeks to get to like 8 hours a day. And if you would have not loosened your ego, and if you didn't get rid of the ego, you would have spent like months telling yourself that, hey, tomorrow is the day, this magical day that will change my life, and I'll start working for 12 hours and everything would be aligned tomorrow. But today I'll just eat junk food and watch Netflix and just waste my time. Let's say you have been working for 12 hours a day for 6 months straight. And let's say you haven't worked at all for 2 months because you fell in a rut. There will be two versions of you. One version would be saying, hey, I can work for 12 hours a day. Like 6 months ago, I was doing it. Now I can't because I was in a rut. But tomorrow is the day I'll work for 12 hours. Understand that that is just resistance. That is just a lie. And your brain has gotten you to this position, which is you being in a rut and you hating your life, and you're not able to work for even 3 hours a day, let alone 12 hours. So don't listen to your brain. Listen to me. Lose the ego and understand that this is a skill that can be lost. So if you were able to work for 12 hours a day 6 months ago and you haven't worked for 3 months straight, then you need to start all over again. The good thing is, when you start from scratch, let's say 1 hour, 2 hour, it takes like 4 or 5 or 6 days max to get back to 12 hours or 10 hours a day. So progressively overload the amount of time you can study and work for, and also progressively overload the amount of time you can focus for at one sitting. So right now I can focus for in the morning I can focus for like 3 hours straight, 2 hours without a problem. In the afternoon it would be like 1 hour, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes, depends on other things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So increase the overall amount of time you work for, but also increase the focus span you have. Like in one sitting, how long can you focus for? Next, we are going to talk about cognitive load. Cognitive load is your RAM. Your brain processes information in the background of your memory, and your brain has its own RAM. What happens is, when you don't finish what you started, your brain absolutely hates it because it creates an open loop. You open the loop, you started to watch one video on discipline. Then you stopped, and then you're like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it today. That's an open loop, and your brain fucking hates it. Stop doing it. Start to finish the thing you say you're going to do. Start to finish things. When you finish things, your brain loves it. Your brain is free, and there's no extra baggage that is going on in the background of your brain. It's just you in the present moment, and you're able to focus and divert all of your energy into one point, or converge all of your energy into one point. And the way you do that is by finishing things you started, by not having a lot of cognitive load. So clean your life. Stop overloading your brain with information, with news, with random things. Things you cannot control, things that is outside of your control. Stop thinking about it and start to control the things you can control, and clean your life and start to finish the things you started. So, second point is cognitive load. More specifically, it's about finishing the things you started. The third thing is the most important point in the whole video. Like, if I can just tell you that, hey, just follow this one thing and you will be focused, just trust me. This is the one thing that is so simple, but it transformed the way I work. It transformed the focus I have. It probably 20, 30x'd my focus and the amount of time I can focus for. Third point is your diet. Diet plays a huge role in focus. And specifically, I want to talk about breakfast because I don't have breakfast in the morning and then I start working. Most people I've seen, what they do is they wake up and straight away they look for something to eat and then they go to work and then they're having immense brain fog and then they're like, why the fuck I can't focus? Well, you can't focus because you ate first thing in the morning. If you were hungry, you would be more hunger for the work. You would be literally striving for excellence. You would be focused. First few days, first few weeks, it will be uncomfortable to skip breakfast and go directly into work mode. But trust me, within 2 weeks, within 3 days, you will feel this immense clarity in your brain and you will stop having brain fogs and afternoon crashes. Those crashes in energy and mood you get is from sugar and carbs. Once you eliminate carbs and sugar from your diet, you will be immensely focused. The diet I recommend for entrepreneurs, for focused people, for people who want to work, is the carnivore diet. And my own version of carnivore diet is meat, eggs, animal fat like butter or ghee, nuts, and fruits. That's it. That's all I'm allowed to eat when I'm in a season of life where I'm focusing on work. When I'm bulking or when I'm like trying to build muscles, sure, I'll have some carbs in the evening or when I'm going to bed. But the whole day, I'll just eat eggs and meat and nuts, and that's it. I won't have much carbs throughout the day. And that's basically how I follow a diet that is optimized for my focus levels. Even when I'm in a bulk, even when I'm supposed to eat a lot of food, I still am intensively focused on my work because of this one diet called the carnivore diet. So follow the carnivore diet and stop eating breakfast. Stop eating first thing in the morning. Start waking up like at 4 or 3 a.m. Get some work done. Get some like 1 or 2 additional hours of work done before you go to school, before you go to work. Start to get like 1, 2 hours of work done, empty stomach, and then you can just have your breakfast if you really wanted to. And then you can go to work and just go through your day. The reason I couldn't focus after school was because I was having a huge amount of meal. I was having carbs, vegetables, all of these oils that was like unhealthy for me. I was just having it all. And then I was sitting on my desk trying to focus. I couldn't focus. I was tired throughout the day. I was like exhausted. And then I ate. So now I'm like really exhausted and really feeling that resistance of not being able to work. So, point number four is no big meals before work. Focus on your diet, get on the carnivore diet, stop having breakfast. The fifth thing is brain points. And brain points is another crucial concept. What brain point represent is the energy you have in your brain. You have heard of the phrase called death through 1,000 cuts. Every decision you make, every action you take, every movement you make takes some level of energy from your brain. For example, let's say there's this person called Bob, and Bob wakes up with like 180 brain points. Brain points in this scenario is the energy you have in your brain. He opens his phone to turn off the alarm. Bob loses 5 brain points. Then he scrolls on social media. Bob loses another 10 brain points. He gets out of bed. He decides to eat food. He loses like 35, 40 brain points because of digestion. Digestion is like the second most energy consuming task in your body. So, okay, then he sits on his desk and he starts to procrastinate with work by doing shallow work, by checking on his emails, by replying to people first thing. And then he loses another 20, 30 brain points. The work he needed to do, the main goal of the day, the huge task, the hard task, required 120 brain points, and Bob lost like 100 within the first hour of the day. And now he has like 90 brain points left, and now he's procrastinating with the big task because the big task is not daunting. Now the big task requires 120 brain points. He only has 90, so he will do the things that is requiring less brain points, like scrolling on social media, replying to emails, or doing shallow work that doesn't lead to a lot of success. The thing that leads to success is the hard work that you want to do, and that hard work requires all of you. It requires every single energy you have in your body towards that one work task. Right now I woke up, it's like 6:30 a.m. I woke up at 4. I woke up at 4:30 a.m. and I took a shower, cold shower, and started walking. You see, I wanted to present the best or the most energetic version of me in front of the camera, even if I'm not feeling good right now. I'll just go through the video and just record a video no matter what. And it's easy for me to record the video in the mornings because I have the next level energy I needed to have to get the work done. So I do things in the morning. That is the reason why. Because I have my whole energy, my whole brain points just there. So I can use it for the most difficult task in my day. So understand this concept of brain points and use it to your advantage. Understand that every decision you make, every time you think about, okay, I'm going to wear this cloth, or what should I eat for dinner, or what should I eat for breakfast, or what should I do in my workout, what should I work on, my to-do list, my task list, that will sap away your brain points away from you, and that will drain your energy. And at the end of the day, and at the time where you wanted to do the hard work, you will be like, why don't I have the energy to do it? Because you drained it in like small things. A death by a thousand cuts. Remember that phrase and remember this point, brain points. Sixth point is master your dopamine system. Your dopamine system is the single biggest tool you can use into your advantage when it comes to focusing. When you're overstimulated, when you're focusing on bad things, bad habits, when you're chasing cheap dopamine, you're just not going to be able to focus because focusing on your work releases like small doses of dopamine, but these bad habits, they release a spike, huge loads of dopamine to the point they overflood your dopamine receptors. And at one point, you're like desensitized to these dopamine, to all these dopamine, and the same amount of pleasure you felt on day one, you don't feel the same amount of pleasure with video games, with junk food, with movies on like day 60 because you're just used to it and your baseline of dopamine has just dropped. So use your dopamine regulation system, like master it, understand dopamine, and you will be able to focus for long amounts of hours. That means when you're in a break, you don't look at your phone because your phone will give you more dopamine than your work. So the next session you will have, it will take you longer to go through that first resistance phase of 5 to 10 minutes. Now it's like 20 minutes of you just struggling to focus. Why would you do that? Just don't look at your phone, look at the fucking wall, look at anything else. Just don't do anything during your breaks. Live a boring life so that your work becomes more interesting. So master your dopamine regulation system, master this one area of your life so you can just make everything that is productive and healthy for you easier to do. You can make reading a book easier. You can make normal food like apple or orange healthier options more pleasurable to you. Next point is ruthlessly eliminate all distractions. Right now, you would be coping and you will be thinking about that one thing that you know is destroying your life, the one thing you know you're addicted to, but you're just fighting for it. You're just fighting to keep that addiction, to keep that vice in your life. Ruthlessly eliminate all distractions. If you really want to focus for long hours of time and you want to be consistent, you need to eliminate distractions. That's the one thing I did with my phone. So, my phone here, it doesn't have any stupid apps, it doesn't even have YouTube. It only has WhatsApp and banking apps and boring shit. So, I can't get distracted on my phone. My average screen time is like 50 minutes. An average person's screen time today is like 6 to 8 hours. So, you will spend like 10 years of your life just glued to your phone. Is that the life you want to live? Is that what we are created and born for? Is that what we are conscious and alive for? To look at your phone for like 10 years? It's like a jail cell. Imagine being locked up in a jail for 10 years for doing something you didn't even do, for a crime you didn't commit, and then you're just spending the sentence. Why? Eliminate all distractions and take this advice very seriously. The next thing I did was focus sprints. Focus sprints is you working for like 60, 90, 120, 180 minutes at a time. Like all of these advice these loser YouTubers give about Pomodoro technique and walk for 25 minutes and take 5 minutes break. Have some respect for yourself. Like have some fucking self-respect. If you can't focus for 25 minutes, like come on. At least focus for 50 minutes, 1 hour at a time. Stop just just stop this fucking nonsense of Pomodoro technique. Work for 1 2 hours like at a time, at one sitting, like a respectable human being, like a respectable worker, like a top performer. Stop this fucking bullshit of Pomodoro technique in 25 minutes and do this and have a chocolate at every break because to reward yourself. Atomic Habits talk about it. No, just have some self-respect. You're not like a fucking child anymore. Go work for 1 2 3 hours at a time. Make it the most important thing in your life. Be serious for the first time in your life. Just be serious. Focus sprints for 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes at a time. I can understand that if you are like really down bad and you can't focus for like 1 hour at all, start with like 25 minutes. I understand. But your end goal within like 3 weeks should be to focus for at least 1 hour at a time, like 50 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 20 minutes at like one sitting. So that's the point. Focus sprints, 90 minutes, 120 minutes at one sitting. Next point is boring breaks. Like I said before, dopamine is released through your work, but it is released in small doses. And in your break, when you're doing something that is more interesting than your work, it will be harder for you to focus on your work, and your work becomes boring and less interesting. You don't want to do that. If you want to become a top performer in that one thing, in that one area of your life, then you need to have boring breaks. Look at the wall. Don't do anything. Don't go on your phone. Don't listen to music. Just look at your wall and reflect and probably meditate and don't do anything. Just sit for 10, 20 minutes. Just relax your brain, relax your central nervous system, and just calm down. Close your eyes and yeah, just 10 15 minute break and don't look at anything, just make it boring. Next point is visualization, and this is the one point that helped me so much. Every day I would visualize in the morning for 2 minutes, and what I would visualize is the end result, the life I want to live in like 4 or 5 years. But I also visualize what I would do today. I will visualize the perfect day that can occur today. The perfect day. Me being social, me focusing for hours, me at the end of the day closing my laptop and checking off every single task in that to do list. These were the things I was visualizing in the morning. And when I would do that, it will always work. Like magically, my days would be automatically the perfect days I would have for months. Like it would be a streak of me crossing off my to do list and checking everything I wanted to do that day for months in my diary. So visualization is extremely important, and it's like a point that not many people talk about in a video on focus. But if you visualize and see yourself and change your self image as that of a top 1% performer, as that of a focused person, then you would be naturally focused. Even when you go through the resistances, when you go through the obstacles, when you go through the challenges of you not feeling like you wanted to work for more than 1 hour, you will still work because the self image is so high that it doesn't allow you to give in to that vice, that to give in to that resistance. Last bonus point I would like to give you is you don't need a fucking 1 hour long ritual to start working. You can just start working. A lot of people just have this 1 2 3 hour long ritual of running and freaking swimming and going out in the sunlight. These things can be healthy for you, but you don't need them to work. You can just wake up and start working. And of course, you can do the good habits, the morning routine after you have finished 3 hours of work in the morning. But you don't need a morning routine and then you need to start work. You can just start the work. You don't need a ritual before work. You can just start to work. Last bonus point I would like to give you is invest in some noise cancelling headphones. Like, trust me, investing in some noise cancelling headphones will give you like extra 20 points in your focus. For some reason, when it blocks out your own breath, the sound of every small thing, and it gives you like laser focus on the task at hand. I don't know what is it with like noise cancelling headphones, but it gave me this intense focus, this intensity that I was looking for in my work. And whenever I would just turn the noise cancelling off, it's like a relief, a sigh of relief from the world. And now I can just focus and relax. So if you have the money, you can invest in some normal noise cancelling headphones. The one I'm using are the AirPods from Apple, but you can just buy a normal like Android or third party brand that does the job, and you will see the results immediately when you put those noise cancelling headphones in. You can turn them on, and when you start to work, it's like you are in the zone. It's like a trigger for your brain to start working, to start being focused or be relaxed in a meditative state. If this video helped you and you got value out of it, then I would urge you to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what you thought about this video. If it helped you, if I missed something in my video, and if you are struggling with something, you can just comment down below again, and I can make a video on it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you can focus on your next work task.